Hi everyone, here is Timmy and Savannah, my
Hi
guest.
guys.
Thank you for coming. It is a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yes, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you guys, Timmy.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so I'm an author of two young adult fantasy novels, and I'm also a public speaker. I speak to creatives about the value of failure and how to know when you've arrived and how to enjoy the journey. And I also have a background in dragon wrangling, where I worked at an exotic animal clinic taking care of exotic animals. And so that's something that I like to take lessons I learned from that, and also, bits of animal personalities and things like that to put in my books.
And I know that you love reptiles.
Yes. Yep. Lizards are my
Uh,
favorite.
how did that develop? From
I have no
since when
idea.
do you like them?
I always have ever since I was little. My grandma lives in Florida where it's really warm and there's lots of lizards just out running around all the time in the wild. And I used to try to catch them on her front porch when I was really little. And that's as early as I can remember. But nobody in my family is really huge into animals. So I don't know how I ended up with it, but it's just how I am.
I see. That's so interesting. And I saw on Instagram. Go follow Savannah on Instagram because she has amazing photos. She went on a journey and she took a lot of interesting photos with a lot of lizards and other kind of reptiles, and that was such a fun. I loved it so much.
Yes, it was such a fun experience to be able to do that. So I want to do it again in maybe another year or two to get some more pictures because it was so fun.
Hi, Holly. Holly is here.
Holly, hello. Hey girl, how's it going?
The it has a little bit of lag. The comments arrive here a little bit
Right.
later, but I have a pop-out chat and I can see it when they write it.
Awesome.
How are you, Holly? Thank you for coming. Okay, so today we are going to talk about burnout, which is sadly one of the many things that us writers and creative people usually face because, yeah, we have to push ourselves. We don't have, especially if we are self employed, then we push hard and harder because we think that if we do that, then we will have success. Yeah, well, that's not the case.
Yeah, you have to balance between pushing yourself to, try new things and learn more efficient ways to do things while also taking care of yourself and sleeping enough and having proper nutrition. And with entrepreneurs and creatives, the first thing to go is health because we get so excited about the things we want to pursue. But then it gets harder to do a good job of, working on our projects and stuff when we have poor nutrition and no sleep and no exercise. I can testify to all of these things. These are things I'm still working on incorporating appropriately into my life because it's hard because I want to spend all my time creating. And if you have a full-time job, whether it's another entrepreneurial pursuit or if it's like a regular day job, that also takes more time out of your day and can make it harder to balance everything. Hi, Samantha. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Samantha. I am so happy that people are joining in.
Yes,
And
me
yes, this
too.
is a really important topic because, yeah, I don't know if there is someone who sadly hasn't faced this.
My lights just turned out. I'm going to go turn them back on. I'll be right
Okay.
back. Oh, they're motion detective. I'm borrowing a classroom at work, so I don't know what's going on, but there we go. They're back.
Oh, okay. It was so scary. You
Oh, that was
went
weird.
black for a few seconds and
Yeah,
oh my God, what's happening?
yeah, that was
I
weird.
thought that you were out of electricity or something like that.
Nope, all good.
Okay, so let's start with what do we know about burnout and what do we think or experienced as a burnout?
So I looked up the dictionary definition to see what that had to say, and I'm going to read that real quick. It's exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. So even our creative pursuits that give us a lot of joy to be pursuing them and to see them come to fruition, they can bring a lot of stress and frustration with them, because there's a lot of figuring out how to do things you don't know how to do and figuring out how to manage your time better. And, sometimes it just doesn't go like you plan, and stuff takes longer than you think, and things go wrong, and you have to figure out how to deal with them. So that can all add some stress. My own definition, though, is kind of like the loss of joy and excitement associated with your projects due to, it could be like self-doubt, sleep deprivation, repetitive disappointments, like when you keep trying things and they keep not working, with like social media or other projects, or the abundance of negative feedback. If you have people in your life who don't support you, or you whatever negative feedback can come from, those are all things that can cause you to just feel burnt out and wonder why you're doing it, and feel discouraged. So those are my definitions. Do you have other definitions, or do you agree?
Well, as a psychologist, we learned the explanation that you read it out, but in my opinion, um, it doesn't always have to do with conscious stress, because usually, sadly, we don't always recognize stress.
Mm-hmm.
And if we push hard, then burnout can happen even if we don't stress about it, even if every time it's a joy to write. But if you don't pay attention to our body's signaling that it's enough, you should take a rest, you should stop for a little while, or we forget to eat, we forget to take care of our body. Hydration is really important. So every time if you write, you should drink at least every 30 minutes, at least a cup of water. And it is really important, because I usually, for me, it happened that I wasn't stressing about it. I was just pushing so hard because I wanted to finish, that I didn't realize that I was pushing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you were pushing yourself to your, beyond your limits, and forgot to take care of your body's needs along the way. Is that what you'd say? Like you forgot to drink enough water and sleep enough and things like that?
Water not, because since I am dictating, I have to drink, because if not, then I cannot speak. But I was doing it for hours and hours and hours, and I wasn't doing anything else, because usually when I start dictating, I am in the zone that much that I
Yeah.
forget everything,
Yeah.
and I don't realize how much time passed, but my body realizes. And it is important to be in harmony with your body and pay attention to what it says,
Mm-hmm.
because our body knows the best. If our body says that they want resting, then we should stop writing. Even if we want to finish that chapter, even if we want to finish that scene, the most important is that we listen to our body, and even our mind, or if we start thinking about something else, that means that we are already tired, so we have to stop for a little bit. And on the short side, burnout for me is when you push too hard and you don't realize that you've done that. And after that, for a few days, you stop wanting to do
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
thing, because it can be anything, not just writing. It can
Mm-hmm.
any activity. Even being with your family can
Mm-hmm.
have a burnout. So pay attention to your needs, and everything will be okay. Let's see a little bit here the chats, because we've been
Yes.
getting a lot of. Holly says that you wanted to shake a little bit of things with the light when it went out.
Yep. Just making sure you're all awake and paying attention.
Yes, Holly says that the definition is spot on. Yes.
Yeah.
and that your definition is great, which I agree.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the scariest thing for me is when I realize I'm so burnt out that I don't want to do the things that I normally want to do. It feels like I'm not myself. Like it feels like I've lost a part of my identity because I normally have like this excited like expectation, like I can't wait to go work on these things. And then when that's gone, it feels, you know, kind of there's like an emptiness and like a it's scary because I normally
Yes,
really enjoy feeling that joy and then it's gone. So that's the scariest part for me.
yes, and for me, it makes me so sad because I want to do it, but I just cannot make myself. I have to beg in my head, but I just cannot do it, and it is so sad because one of my experiences was last year during NaNoWriMo. I wrote my novel, which I want to publish this year. Uh, while I was very sick, my throat ached, and I had a cold, and then dictation is quite a pain, and I pushed even so hard, and I pushed, and I finished in 13 days. And after that, I wanted to finish the entire book during NaNoWriMo, but after I don't know, I have a mental block, or I don't know. As
Mm-hmm.
I finished with the 50K,
Mm-hmm.
I stopped, and I finished my book on the last day of the year. So,
Yeah.
but for several weeks, I just couldn't. I just couldn't write anymore. Even if I had the outline, I know what I have to dictate. I knew everything, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's hard when that happens.
What is your biggest experience with burnout?
Yeah. So last year I had a really awful, I called it like the great slump is kind of what it was, like a creative slump where I just um felt very burned out and it lasted a few months actually. And like I kept, I still kept trying a lot, but I just did not feel very good about things. So part of it was when I had some friends visit me for a weekend, some writer friends, and we had a great time writing and hanging out. And then they left. And then suddenly I was like, oh, I miss my friends. And that was a little bit of it. And then I was on some medication that the pharmacy changed the brand without, I guess, without my doctor knowing about it. And I assumed that it was okay and went with it, but something was up with the different brand. And so I think that also messed with like my, my health because I just didn't something, it messed with something. And that was part of why I felt burnt out. And then I also had like some discouraging feedback. And so all those things together made me just not feel good about myself as a writer and not feel good about my work that I was producing. And it caused me to kind of be in a slump from like February to August. And I didn't stop writing altogether, but I stopped feeling the joy from it. I stopped getting up early in the morning because whenever I would get up early to work on my stuff before going into my day job, I would be so tired I would fall asleep over my computer, and I just couldn't find the energy to keep trying. So I kind of stopped doing that, and I still tried to do some things, but mostly I just fell asleep a lot because like I guess that's a sign of like being depressed, like I was overwhelmed by things, and after dinner I would normally work on stuff, but instead I would fall asleep on the couch for hours, and I'd wake up at bedtime and go to bed. And so yeah, it's not a good time.
Yes. And these are a few of the symptoms, because usually if you have burnout, then you have depression. You usually those things that were easy to do, like writing and enjoying writing, get tiring, and you have hard time to do it. And those are a few of the symptoms. I will mention here, before I forget, that I saw a really good video of Sarra Cannon on her YouTube channel, Hard Breathings, about burnout, and she mentioned detailed what are the some symptoms and how to overcome it. And so yeah, I will leave the link in the description, so go check it out. after you watch our live stream, because it is really useful.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get to some ways that we've dealt with burnout to give some people some tips, I think,
Yeah.
coming up pretty soon, right?
Let's see what Holly is saying. Yes, she said that she isn't feeling herself either when she has it.
And it's like a
Yes,
vicious cycle.
and we usually beat up ourselves because we want to do it as we did it previously, and we beat up ourselves if we cannot do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really important to have self-acceptance and grace towards ourselves when we are going through a hard time, because we are not robots. If we would be robots, then it would be easier. We would do what we have to do, and that is it. But we are feeling beings, and we have needs, and we have limits, because yeah, if we wouldn't have limitation, then we could do anything.
Right.
So the next topic is, how did you recover from that period of time?
Yes. So I didn't know what I was doing or have like a great plan or anything, but I knew that I had loved writing a lot at one time, and I knew that it was probable that I could love it again if I didn't completely give up on it. So I did take some breaks from things to try to get my health back. Like I stopped getting up at 5 to work on my stuff before going into work. I just got up in time to go to my day job, which was no fun because I like feeling like I own the day by starting my day with my own work. But I took a break from that so that I could get more sleep to take better care of myself. But I didn't completely stop writing. I still tried. I did it less because I was exhausted of it, but I didn't want to completely give it up because I knew I had loved it so much in the writing community that I had found. So I didn't give up on it. I just did it a little bit less, but I still did a little bit, at least every week, if not every day. And I also knew from experience that whenever I feel uncomfortable with something, it's sometimes what I need to do is continue being uncomfortable with it to keep growing, like in some ways, like to throw myself into it. And I was kind of trying to not throw myself into it too much because I was exhausted and I needed a break. But I knew that I needed to just keep doing it in order to, keep it on my radar and just not let it become like some far distant thing that I didn't understand anymore and didn't think I could ever get back to. And I never actually suddenly had a day where I felt fine again. I just realized sometime in August that I had felt better for several days. And like it was like a really slow progression of getting, like I never was like, oh, today's the day, everything's fixed, I feel great. It was never like that. It was just a slow, eventually I was like, oh, I've felt pretty good and written a lot of things the past few days. Maybe I'm finally over the slump. And there were times where I thought, I had like a better day during that several month period, and I thought maybe things were all better, and then they still weren't, and I was still discouraged and still struggling. But finally the better days stuck more. So I think the thing was persistence, while also taking breaks in measures so that I could take better care of myself, but still being persistent in what I wanted to, find my love for again.
Yes. It is really important that you reduce, not stop it at all, because in my case I stopped it at all. I just couldn't do it. But if you reduce the number of words, or let's say the days you write, it is good that you don't do as much time or as many hours, and you do as much as you can, as much as your body accepts. And the other thing is that self-knowledge is really important. You need to know your limitations. You need to know what are your needs, and how to fulfill those needs. And what are the things that uplift you? What are the things that will bring you joy and be in balance? So work on your things, work on the thing that gave you the burnout, but also increase the things that give you joy, that relaxes you, maybe take up meditation or things that just bring you back in the present moment so that you don't think about the future. And that is really important, in my opinion. And take a lot of rest until you recover. Take care of yourself in the ways that it is for your own personality, because maybe meditation works for me, but maybe meditation doesn't work for any uh, uh, other people. But maybe they enjoy playing on the computer or other kind of PlayStation, or I don't know, other kind of things. Important is that you take your mind off the topic that gave you the burnout. So yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes I like to draw, because it's still being
Mhm.
creative, but it's in a different way. It's using a different part of my brain. I can forget about my book that's stressing me out and I can just draw something. And I especially like doing Zentangle because it's it doesn't matter what it looks like. However, you just like make up designs and however it turns out, it looks great because it's just kind of an abstract thing. So then there's no pressure to make it look perfect or anything. And also if you're burnt out, you can sometimes get burnt out on one project, not necessarily all writing things, but one book. And
Yes.
then you can sometimes take a break from that book and work on a different book. Or if you're exhausted of just like the process of editing, you can go and draft something new just to let your mind take a break and run wild with some ideas for a new novel. And sometimes just taking a break from that particular project, not necessarily from writing, but from that project, can be helpful.
Yes. I didn't know that you love drawing. I love drawing
I
too.
do. Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's see. Holly says that, oh, she has been falling asleep on her couch. Yes.
Yeah.
Even the fun things can give us burnout. So don't push the playing and other things. If you feel that when you when your eyes start doing like this, then you know that you have to go to sleep. So
Yeah.
take care of yourself, Holly, because we need you.
Yes.
And she said that we give great advice.
Oh, thanks, Holly.
Okay, so the most important, or at least for me, everything is about preventing. My entire life, I always worked on preventing things than overcoming them, because I don't know, my parents' mentality is overcoming things. They go only to the doctors when they feel bad. And
Mhm.
yeah, so people usually do only care about themselves when
Mhm.
they already are in the situation. But it is so easier to prevent than to overcome, because it's harder. Overcome is harder than preventing.
Mhm.
So prevent things before they happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
What are
definitely.
your what is your opinion about how would you prevent being again in that situation that you were?
Mhm. So I have a couple of different suggestions depending on kind of what is the main cause of the burnout. So if you're feeling burnt out kind of because you have like a lack of direction and you feel like, you're moving a millimeter in 100 different directions but not getting anywhere, if it's a lack of direction, choosing something and committing to it and sticking to it, at least for a few weeks to decide if it's because if you can't decide if you can't decide what's the right thing to do, stick pick whatever you think is most likely to be the best thing and then stick to it for a few weeks, so that you're not like flitting back and forth between different things and then not getting anywhere and feeling frustrated because you can't get anywhere. Like if you don't put enough time into something, you won't be able to know if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. So if you're in a situation where it's a lack of direction, committing to one thing for at least a few weeks can help you decide whether it's the right thing that you should keep sticking to or whether it's the wrong thing, and you can be sure it's the wrong thing, and then you can completely leave that one and go and look at something else and focus on that. So, honing in your focus some can help if you're feeling a lack of direction. If you're feeling overwhelmed, Again, picking a top priority project, because we have lots of different things pulling at our attention that we want to do. So if you pick a top priority project and then set specific goals for that and action steps for each goal. So not just, I want to finish my book this year, but I want to write so many words a day, for the next couple of months. And then I'm going to find beta readers by this date, and I will send it to them by this date. Make goals and then make dates with them and action steps associated with them so that you really will do them. Because the problem with goal setting, and I won't go into this because I could talk a lot about this, but the problem with goal setting is people don't put action steps and deadlines with them. And that's why they never happen.
Yes, and they make huge goals. They don't break it. If you break it in smaller and smaller, the smallest step that you can break it into, it's the easiest. Because let's say you break it very, very small, sitting down on the couch, taking out your laptop, opening the app that you use, and start typing these many words. So these are all steps that feel easier to do than, let's say, write X amount of words this month. If you don't break it down as much as you need to feel it easy to do it.
Yes, breaking them down is definitely hugely helpful. And then the one other suggestion I have for burnout is, if you feel like what you do doesn't matter and you're frustrated because it doesn't matter or people don't care about it, try to take the focus off yourself for a minute and think about the audience that you're trying to reach, the people that you want to read your work, and think about how it would benefit them to read it. Because, all humans are inherently selfish. So we want to write things that we like to write, which is fine. But if it's not something that's going to benefit somebody else, when the point of you writing it in your mind is for other people to read it, then that can make you feel discouraged when people don't want to read it. So you can kind of reevaluate what you're doing and see, is this writing that I'm just doing for me, like journaling just to help me get clarity on something? Or is this writing a book that I want people to enjoy, that I want people to read? Or is it a blog post that I want people to learn something from? So think about, if you want people to learn a concept or be entertained or be made to feel a feeling about something, think about how you want to affect people with your writing and try to reevaluate your process with that. And, try to make a couple of changes to make your writing more audience centered, if that is what you're, trying to do with your writing. So those are some of my ideas for trying to get unstuck from burnout.
Let's see a few of the comments. Yes, I love that advice too, that switching to something else, or even if you don't work on several writing projects, let's say you can take a few days break from writing and focus on, let's say, content marketing, or building your audience, or reading, because reading is also something that we enjoy, but also something that helps us as writers. So switching between other kind of activities also help, because not a lot of people work on different writing projects. Do you usually work on several, or do you work on one?
So I focus on one at a time, but only for a few weeks. I actually, to try to prevent burnout, from one project, I actually work 4 to 6 weeks on one project. I make that my focus because it's a waste of time to bounce between projects for me, within a week, to work on a bunch of different projects. Because then I've got to remember where I'm at and not get my characters confused, and remember, I've got to recheck things to make sure I'm on the right path. So I like to just avoid all of that by just doing that once when I start working on a project at the beginning of a few weeks. And then I work on that, until the end of the month or the end of the quarter. And then I work on a different one. And I always love taking a break from the one I've been working on to work on a different one. But I know that unless I make myself, stick to that one for a period of time, I'm not going to make very much progress in it. So in order to be more disciplined, I try, focus on one thing for a few weeks, and then I reward myself with a break from that and focus on something else for a few weeks. And by the time the few weeks are over with that, I'm so ready to be done with that when I move on to the next one. So for me, it's about 4 to 6 weeks. And I think people should try to experiment and see what works best for them. Oh, a Kanban board. That's awesome. Yes, definitely good for breaking stuff down. I don't use one myself, but I've seen a lot of people talking about how useful they are. So I might end up trying. I still write my goals out in a notebook, like on a notebook page, but I run out of room. So I may need to do something like with the Kanban boards, like with the sticky notes and stuff, or the Trello way that Brittany Wang does it. So you can like more easily edit it if you need more room. Those are great ideas.
Yes, I took also the course about the Kanban board, the HB90 from Sarra Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So, how now I have to talk about preventing. I thought I forgot that I have to do it too. So, the most important, as I told already, is balance. That you do something that is productive, but also you do something that is self-care related, or how do you say it? Something that brings you joy, and you don't. It's the focus is not on productivity; it's on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is not selfish. Taking care of yourself and doing things that you love, it's not selfish as a lot of people think. Taking care of yourself is as important as productivity, because if you don't um, take care of yourself and you don't do things that uplift you and fill you, then you will get drained and you will get burned out. And yeah, so and that way your productivity will decrease. So it is really important to have a balance, because
Mm-hmm.
if you take care of yourself, you may think that you take time from your productivity, but that's not true. Because if you take care of yourself, then productivity increases. It will be better, it will be easier, and it will take less time. If you don't take care of yourself, maybe you think that you will be more productive, but that's not the case, because slowly it will be harder, it will take more time, and you will get burnout. So, yeah, balance is the most important. Choose the things that fill you. As Sarra Cannon says, your creativity well. It is very important to be filled always. Don't let it dry out, because if you let it dry out, then it will be harder to fill it again. So,
Yes.
balance. It
Yes.
is the important. Holly is asking, do I recommend? Uh, yes, for those people who have problems planning and fulfilling those plans, I recommend it. But for those people who already have a system and that system works for them, I don't recommend it, because you have already how to work, and if it works for you, then you don't need another tool. But if you, as most of the people, you have problems setting small goals and um, accomplishable goals, then it is ideal. Because, but yeah, I just wanted to say personally, I it didn't give me new information, because I had, without knowing, without consciously knowing, I already had that system in myself and I already did it. So, yeah, I didn't learn much, but others learned a lot, because they didn't develop a system for themselves. I always have been, self knowledge is important for me, and I always knew how to work on myself, what are my needs, how to accomplish them, and since I was a child. So that is why I knew how, what works for me, and that it didn't give me new things. But the other course that I highly recommend, even if it a little bit is money wise, but Publish in Thrive, oh my God, oh my God, it's the best investment for myself. I mean, I learned so many things. Even if I have been watching for 2 years author tubers, and still it gave me so many good information and a lot of things that I didn't take into consideration, which are part of the self-publishing. So that course I highly recommend for every self-publishing writer.
And that's Publish and Thrive by Sarra Cannon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I mean hard biddings because that is the brand name for
Okay.
authors. Sarra Cannon is the writer name for readers, so she differentiated these two names. Hard
Okay.
biddings is for writers and Sarra Cannon is for readers.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with you, Holly. So let's go on. Yeah, so we are going to talk about you.
Oh, yay.
What are your future plans? What are your projects that you are working? Share with us everything that you can share. Where
Awesome.
we can find you? What are your books? A little bit talk about the premise and the topic of your books and everything that you want to talk about.
Awesome. I have some exciting news I want to share, but first, can I answer a couple of questions real quick that I got beforehand from Holly and Janine? Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I
Yeah.
put it in it would have come after that, but yeah, logically it should. Okay, so Q&A time before we talk about Savannah and her books. If you have any questions, leave it in the chat. And if you are watching the replay, leave it in the comment section and we will answer after that. So the first question is from Holly. How do you give yourself grace if you're slow to come out of burnout?
So I think part of it is the mindset, just remembering that you're only human, you're not a robot, as Timmy said, and you can only do so much. And if you pushed yourself to do more than you can do, you just need a break, and that's normal. And we'd like to be invincible, and we'd like to be able to take on everything, but we just can't. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is be nice to yourself while you are healing and coming out of burnout, so that you will be better equipped to face the things you take on once you are feeling better. What would you
Yes,
say, Timmy?
I agree what you said. And here the balance should be a little bit higher for the self-care part. So reduce the thing that gave you the burnout and take care and feeling your creativity that you problems. If you got into this state, then you should accept it. Don't bully yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. First of all, accept the fact. Yes, I pushed myself so hard that I got into burnout. Accept that we make mistakes, we get into this, and accept yourself that you did this, but now you are ready to heal and you take care of your soul and yourself. And yeah, so just be kind to yourself. Don't be harsh. I know that from my own experience, it's so easy to bully ourselves. We bully ourselves more than others do. So I know, I know that it is hard, but if you cannot do it mentally, then always have. I used to do this, and I used to do for others too. Have a journal where you write kind things about yourself. And when you start bullying yourself, take out that journal and force yourself, because when you want to bully yourself, you have to force to do something else. Read it. Read it even aloud and acknowledge that those things that you wrote about yourselves are true. And I used to send messages for others about their good qualities and how they are good, and to motivate them. And that is a good thing, that you should have a list about the things that you accomplished, the qualities that you have, because when we are in a bad situation, we tend to see only the negative side of our personality and our life. So, yeah, acknowledge the good things in yourself, because trust me, there are plenty, and the good side is always bigger than the bad side. We just love to make it bigger the other side. So, yeah, this
And I
is
would
my
say,
advice.
and along the same lines, you probably accomplished some things while you were burning yourself out. So look at the things that did get done, that did happen while you were working so hard, and give yourself credit for those things. Because maybe you did, post really consistently on Instagram and get lots of interaction and growth. Or maybe you did bust out a whole novel in November and you need a break from it now. But make sure that you're giving yourself credit for all those things you did do. Even if you didn't completely reach a goal, if you had a big goal and you reached toward it, you probably still accomplished something. And you should still give yourself credit for those things you accomplished rather than being negative about what you didn't get done. Focus on the things you did get done, and be proud of yourself for that. And then that, I think that's a good way to give yourself grace. It's not that you can't ever do anything right and you are, so burnt out because you can't ever do anything. You did a lot of things. You just need to find a way to take care of yourself better while you do things in the future. So, yes.
Yes. And Holly, you should know better, because you have a workbook, a really great workbook about the balanced writer, so that you know that balance is really important. But yeah, usually we don't always accept our own advice. So
Yes.
take into consideration and use your own workbook, because it is really good. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
and
everybody go check out Holly's Happy Balanced Writer.
yes.
If you click on her YouTube picture, it will it'll take you to her YouTube videos, and then you can click on a link in her website or to the Happy Balance Writer, so you can find that after our live stream.
And it is a really good workbook
It
for not
is.
burning out. So,
Yes.
yeah, so go and purchase it, because it is worth. Trust me, trust us.
Yes.
And yeah, self care, self care, self care. I cannot stress enough. Self care is the most important thing. People tend to neglect themselves, and yeah, as a short personal experience, my mother is a doctor, and especially this period, she neglected herself, and she's in a really bad state. And I just want to tell you that you shouldn't do this, because you cannot help others unless you are in a good state. So taking care of yourself, it is really important. If you have a message to write for others in your books, then taking care of yourself will make that goal being accomplished, because you need to be in a good state so that you can help others, so that you can be there for others. And if you want to help others, then you should help the person that it is with you 24 hours, 7 days a week. So, yeah, that is the most important human that you should take care of and help. So, yeah, don't forget that. Don't be hard on yourself, Holly. We all do it. I do it. I advise people to do certain things, and I don't do it. So, yeah, you are very welcome. Okay, and now we have another question from Janine. How long do you give for recovery? Can I answer this first?
Yes, go for it.
As much as you need. as much as you feel, because the creativity well is different size for everyone. So if you let it dry out completely, then maybe for some people it takes a few days, for some people it takes a few weeks, for others a few months. Be nice to yourself and take as much time as you need. No one is rushing you, only yourself. So don't forget that being with yourself in a good place is the most important. Nothing is more important than your physical, mental, and emotional health. Nothing. I know from experience, nothing is more important.
Yes, I agree. Unfortunately, there's not a one time works for everybody answer. It really just depends. And I think the way to make it as short as possible, if you want to be getting back to things, is just to take care of yourself immediately. Consider taking a break from what is wearing you out and trying a different project or a different form of creativity, or just, taking whatever kind of break you need to let yourself refill the well, as Timmy is saying, and just be patient with yourself, and don't try to figure out like the perfect timing. It will work out as it does. Unfortunately, that's the best answer I have.
Yes. And self knowledge comes
Mhm.
here too. If you know yourself, then you can somehow predict how much time you will need, because you know it comes from the inside. If you know yourself, then usually you know your needs and how much time certain things are needed.
Mhm.
Did you get any questions?
Those are the only questions I have. Are there any more in the comments? The comments aren't showing up for me for some reason on my computer with YouTube, so I'm not able to monitor them very well.
No, the last comment was from Holly
Okay,
saying
awesome.
thanks. So we don't have any other questions. But if other people will leave questions in the comments, we can answer them there too. So
Yes.
let's go back to you.
All right, so you can find my books on Amazon. You can get them really anywhere that books are sold. But I have an exciting new cover reveal coming up soon. Um, and what I'm doing is a new version of the paperback cover for my books that are already out. And it's also going to be the cover that's underneath the the hardcover jacket. It's going to be like a hidden underneath cool design under there. So that's going to be coming out soon. And the way that you can get to see it first is if you sign up for my newsletter, which if it might be linked below, or it might be, you can find it on my YouTube channel too. If you click on my stuff after this, after our live stream, you can find it on my website at the bottom of the page. And that's where I'll be revealing it first. And other than that, my public speaking is kind of put on hold because all the events in the whole world are canceled. So I don't have any exciting new public speaking things to share. But if you want someone to come speak to your writers group or book club virtually, I can do that. Oh, there go my lights again. There we go. Okay, so that is what's new with me. Do you have anything new to share with us, Timmy?
No,
All right.
my plans aren't going as I hoped. So I don't want to complain.
Okay.
And yeah, so can you please tell me the titles of your book?
Yes, the Gwythinian and the Crevabanian. And here is a tip for you guys writing fantasy. Don't name your fantasy books after your made up fantasy words, because nobody can pronounce them or spell them or Google them. So that's a thing I have learned. So I'm
Okay.
not mentioning two titles. It's the Gwythinian and the Crevabanian that are made up words based on the kind of creatures that are in the book. And the new cover reveal may give you a better idea of what they look like than the previous covers, where there's just a little silhouette in the moon of the creatures. So sign up for my newsletter
Oh,
if you want to see that.
you
Um,
made me excited.
yeah, it's super exciting. I can't wait to share it with everybody very soon.
And can you tell a little bit about if you have, do you have time?
Yes, I have
Uh,
until noon, so I've got 10 more minutes.
okay. A little bit the premise or something about.
Yes. So the first book starts with Inzi, who's a 17-year-old girl. She's in high school, and she's had this necklace for forever that used to belong to a family member. And she finds out right at the beginning of the book that it enables her to have a special ability. And also, at the same time that she finds this out, she finds out that it's a missing article of magic importance from another world. And they've just found out that she has it, and they want it back. So, with the help of a dragon, she tries to keep it away from those people and find some other magic relics that need to be kept from those people as well. So, there's a lot of traveling and meeting some other unique creatures with magical abilities. And it goes to lots of different places in the world in both the first and second book.
And how many books do you plan on having in this series?
It is a trilogy, also with a prequel novella that will eventually come out. And the prequel novella will probably be like an exclusive thing just for my subscribers. So there's another reason to sign up for my newsletter.
They can sign up for your newsletter on your website.
Yes, at the very bottom
Okay.
of my website, there is a subscribe button, and you can click that, and then you can click on a button that's just for book updates if you don't want the entrepreneurial advice or writing advice and stuff. But if you want those things, you can click those too. So you can kind of pick what you get so you don't get stuff that you don't want to see.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you can connect with Savannah. All her social media and her official website link are in the description. So go check her out. Her website looks really good. I checked it out yesterday, every little part of it, and I read almost everything. So yeah.
Yeah, thank Brittany Wang. I took Brittany Wang's author website bootcamp and was able to learn so much and make my website so much better with that. So yay, Brittany.
Did you change it or do I remember? Wasn't it sometimes in the past black and red or something like
There,
that?
yes. So my brand colors are still black and red, but I had done it in a less tasteful way previously. So it's
Oh,
done a little bit better now. It used to be more harsh and not like yeah, it used to be less good. It's better now.
because if I remember correctly, the background was black, or
Part of
wasn't it?
it. There was part of it where the background was like black for a part and red for a part.
Yes,
Yes. So I
because
did
when
away with
she
that
was
because it was a little
promoting
bit.
her course, she showed yours too, and that was the picture that
Oh,
remained in my mind. And yesterday I was checking it. Am I at a good place? Is this the?
yes. Generally with websites and stuff, it's better to have mostly a white background with just like black text. If you play around with the background and text color too much, it can be less appealing to the eye. So I tried to calm down some of those colors a little bit.
I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see if we have. Yeah. Oh, Holly saw it already.
She has seen it. Yes, she
Oh,
has. I will show it to you
lucky
after
her.
the live stream if you would like. I'll give
Yes,
you
I
an
would
inside
like.
look. Okay.
Uh, oh,
Yeah, I wrote that for Camp Nano a year or two ago and haven't touched it since. So it needs a lot of work, but it exists and I would like to get it out there. It talks a little bit about some of the background story with Inzi's mom when Inzi was her age, some of the stuff that made her the way that she is in the book, which she's a little bit different.
That's really good. I love reading prequels,
Yes, me too.
especially the Harry Potter one. Okay, I haven't read it. I saw only the movies, but I love Fantastical Beasts, even if a lot of people doesn't love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah. And how far are you with your third book?
There is a 50,000 word rough draft that exists, and maybe 55,000 words now. I'm working on revising it, um, back and forth with getting another book done that I'm working on getting out also. So I'm switching back and forth between those two every few weeks. So I'm on a different book right now, but in a few weeks I'll be back focusing on that book, on the third book in the trilogy again.
And do you have any other plans after that? Other projects in mind?
The
You
other book
have?
I'm working on right now is called Griffins and River Magic. And I also have another book that's totally different also, and that's called A Spiraling of Thunder. And they're all young adult fantasy books. And yeah, I can't say a whole lot about them yet, but I think they will be pretty awesome one day.
Yay! Would you like to say anything else?
Just thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you. And please just ask us any other questions you have in the comments, and we will answer those for you. And if you're going through burnout, I'm sorry, that sucks. But I'm there with you. Timmy and I have experienced it too. And you can feel really alone, but know that we've also been through it, and may even be going through it at the same time as you. You never know. And we're here if you need to talk to us, and try hopefully these tips will help give you some light at the end of the tunnel, and some action steps to break out of that burnout. So I wish you the very best in getting out of that and getting back to normal if you're experiencing that right
now. Okay, I am not going to keep you from your work. So, thank you so much for being here and sharing your experiences and your advice on this topic. And we are going to talk to you. I am going to talk to you soon. And yeah, Holly is saying, thanks, you too. This was
now.
great.
Thanks for watching, Holly. We love
And
you.
yeah, so people don't go anywhere because I am continuing with writing sprints. So if you want to stay and work with me, then don't go anywhere. Savannah has to go because she's at work. Sadly, she's not working from home. So, but you can, if you want, you can still stay in the chat or something like that if you, and you can be productive on your work while we are sprinting. You are productive at your workplace.
All right. Thanks, Timmy. I'm not sure how. Oh, here we go. All right. I found the leave button. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Timmy. Good luck with your writing sprints, and
Thank
I will
you
see you guys
again.
soon. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
You too.
So I hope that this helped a lot of people because we are facing burnout easily as creatives. And right now, one of the things that we can do that we break our work sessions into little chunks. So right now we are going to do a few writing sprints. If you would like to stay with me and work on your projects, and you are very welcome, Samantha. Thank you for being here with us. And those who stayed, let me know in the comments how much time would you like the first sprint to be. Yay, Holly, you stayed. How much time would you like the first sprint to be? Okay, 15 minutes. So, Holly is working on re-outlining, and she said that 15 minutes would be good. Okay. So let me set up the I love using interesting timers, so my timers are going to be different what usually people use. This is the first one, and we are going to start with the 15-minute sprint. Time is up. So how did it go? Let me know in the comment section, those who are watching the replay, how is camp going? Are you attending camp? And how is everything going, writing related? No worries, Hari. I am glad that you are back. Are you attending Camp Nano? Oh, that sounds great. Who is that actor? If we may know. I mean the actors. I cannot read them. I realized that. Oh, okay. Oh my God, I really cannot read. So, yeah. Who is that character that you chose? I personally have so hard time to find actors that look similar to my characters in the book because I have a great vision. Sorry. I have a great vision about them, but actors do not fit that vision, and it is so hard to choose. I haven't found any that fit them 100%, and even the art illustrations that I commissioned for them aren't as I saw them. I see them in my head, but they get close. I don't know who that is. I have to look it up. You made me curious. How many minutes would you like the next sprint to be? I am leaving anything to you. You are the coordinator now, since you are the only one who is here at the live stream. Oh, you are not weird at all. I am a visual person too. I like to give the control out of my hands and ask the opinion of my viewers. But since you are the only viewer, that is why you have all the control now. Okay, so I will start another 15 minute sprints until then, and bon appetit. Time's up. So how did it go this time? Have you managed, Holly, to feed the little puppies and kitties and yourself? What is your favorite snack to eat? Or do you have any kind of snacks that is easy to make or that you can buy and just eat it whenever you want to? Buffy wants to say hi to Zuko and Oliver and the others. Hello, puppies and kitties. I am Buffy. Toot, 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 toot. Sending you a lot of hug and love for all of you, especially Zuko. I like Zuko so much. Zuko is such a cute cat. Oh, I am blushing. I am going now. Peanut butter, I love peanut. Sounds really good. Chickpea black bean chips. Hi, Amara. I am glad that you could make it, even if this is going to be the last sprint. Thank you so much. Okay. So I thought that we can do another 15 minutes, and after that I am going to wrap things up so that I don't go past too much of the 2 hours. This is my favorite timer. Okay, so we are going to start now. Time's up. And this was the last sprint for the day. How did it go? Okay, so I think I am going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for attending this live stream, and the next live stream will be in 2 weeks from 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And hopefully that people can join then too. And I am not going to be alone. Yay! Yes, time flies. Okay, March not that fast because March was, my God, March seemed like a few months or even years. Hopefully April will not be the same. And I am happy that you found the characters for your Thank you for joining in, and we will see each other the next time. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.